This week, I want us to start on a different kind of teaching that we're going to do. I want us to look at the vine. Jesus taught in the book of John, chapter 15, and he talked about the vine and the branches. And this week, every day, we are going to have a few minutes where we look at what exactly it is that Jesus taught concerning the vine. Therefore, come with me to the book of John, the Gospel of John, chapter 15. We are going to read from verse 1 all the way to verse 8. John chapter 15, from verse 1 to verse 8. This is what it says. I am the true vine, and my Father is the gardener. He cuts off every branch in me that bears no fruit, while every branch that does bear fruit, he prunes, so that it will be even more fruitful. You are already clean because of the word I have spoken to you. Remain in me, and I will remain in you. No branch can bear fruit by itself. It must remain in the vine. Neither can you bear fruit unless you remain in me. I am the vine, you are the branches. If a man remains in me and I in him, he will bear much fruit. Apart from me, you can do nothing. If anyone does not remain in me, he is like a branch that is thrown away and withers. Such branches are picked up, thrown into the fire, and burned. If you remain in me, and my words remain in you, ask whatever you wish, and it will be given you. This is to my Father's glory, that you bear much fruit, showing yourselves to be my disciples. In this portion of scripture, Jesus was talking about fruitfulness, and he brings out the idea of a vine, and he tells us that he is the vine and the Father is the gardener, and we are the branches. And in this portion of scripture, he speaks about different kinds of branches showing different levels of fruitfulness. And we are going to look at every level of fruitfulness that Jesus talks about, so that you as a Christian believer, you can be able to gauge yourself, you can be able to judge yourself, and look at your personal life and look at where it is that you are at, so that you can be able to move to the next level of fruitfulness. Because God desires that we may be fruitful. Jesus says that he is the true vine and the Father is the gardener. When Jesus talks about a vine, it is important for you to understand what a vine is. It is important for you to understand what a vine is. A vine is a type of a plant that is not like a tree that grows and puts its root on the ground, and then a trunk comes up and a stem comes up and then it begins to bear branches. No, a vine is not like that. A vine is one that goes on the ground looking for something on which it can hold on to, so that it can be able to stretch upwards. Examples of plants that are vines are, for example, a tomato tree. If you know the kind of a tomato tree if you know what a tomato tree looks like, that is a vine. A tomato tree by itself is not able to grow up and shoot up like a maize plant. A tomato tree by itself is not able to grow and stand by itself like an orange tree. A tomato tree requires the gardener to provide a stand for it, to provide a trellis for it, so that it can hold on to the trellis, and then it can begin to hold on to it using its tendrils, and then it can have something on which it can hold on to, and then it can begin to grow upwards. But without a trellis, that plant is not able to grow upwards. It will just go down along the ground. It is much like a pumpkin tree. Pumpkin plant. A pumpkin plant does not grow upwards. It grows on the ground. It much like sweet potatoes. Sweet potatoes don't grow up like the maize plant. It grows and goes around on the ground. Why? Because these are vines. And a vine is a tree that requires support, so that when the support is provided by the gardener, then the tendrils that are on the plant, on the vine, will grab a hold on the trellis that is provided. A trellis is a support, and when the support is provided, then this vine is able to find its way up. And I want to leave you with this question and ask yourself, why is it that Jesus would compare himself to a vine? that requires support, and not a tree which can be deeply rooted and just stand by itself. Jesus in verse 1 says, I am the true vine, and my Father is the gardener.